Jim Ruppert, Robert Burns, we're here talking high school football, Central State 8 variety. Week 1 coming up. Burnsy, let's talk about what we have in the conference. SHG is the king. The king is there until they're knocked off.
Same old story, Roop. I mean, SHG, they're about a furlong ahead of everybody else. After that, it's 2 through 6. You can kind of pick them, although a lot of people think Jacksonville and Glenwood are going to battle for second. Among the city schools, you got like Springfield High. They're going to have probably one of the better, more versatile quarterbacks in Tyrell Bolden. I think Connor Hayme is going to be their linebacker. Springfield High is kind of a transition period. This could really tell if they've just had a good team for the last couple of years, or if they've really got a solid program that's going to last for 4 or 5 years. But it's SHG. I mean, they've got all staters. They've got a couple of Division I players. Obviously, it starts with Tim Donenville, their quarterback. Who's he going to throw it to? He can throw it to Adrian Cave. He can throw it to
John Lance.
He can throw it to a lot of people. And that's going to be the key. For the last few years, SHG has kind of developed themselves into a passing team. I'm sorry to say, I misspoke there. A passing team as opposed to a running team, and the spread offense. That's the name of the game around here now, and SHG does it better than anybody else.
And SHG also gets the ball to its running backs, Gary Wilson, Greg Wilson, some of those guys will catch some passes. SHG, the team to beat. A couple old standbys right behind, though. Chatham Glenwood is a team. We're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Glenwood winning a state championship this year.
And you just heard the SHG people scream, but that's one of the things that really sticks it to them, because Glenwood could always say, we won ours first.
And Glenwood probably is a team, a lot of holes to fill, especially skill positions, but they like what they have, especially up front this year.
Yeah, they've got a lot of experience up front, but I think the key to Glenwood is just going to be the coaching. I think Dan Rourke gets overlooked sometimes for the kind of coach that he is. Lynn Onken, obviously, one of the better defensive coaches in the conference. You went to Taylorville, and I'm kind of interested in that because I think Taylorville is going to be a little better than people think they are. I had a rough season last year, didn't have a lot of seniors, got some bodies this year, combination Scott Alberson's last year. I think that may lead to something down there.
Taylorville went through 5 quarterbacks last year. You can't go through 5 quarterbacks and expect to have success. At the end of the year, their best wide receiver was their quarterback. So they went through a lot of things. Scott said he never had injuries like he had last year. But that gave everybody a chance to play. He said we had guys playing right tackle and left guard, and now this year he's got 22 seniors. They all come back to positions that they're familiar with, so he likes what he has at Taylorville. Jacksonville is another team that's a little bit outside of the city that has big expectations this year because they've got Jacob Mills and Blake Schnitker back at quarterback.
Yeah, he's the 3-year starter. So that's Mark Grounds. You said he can't do any better than that. You just can simply not do any better than that.
Also, their leading returning rusher.
Got their leading returning rusher back, but Mills is going to be the key to that team. Mark Grounds, when I talked to him earlier this week, he just couldn't emphasize how he makes that team go. Mills, he said it's like having another coach on the field, which is a cliche, but it's when you've got a kid that's been playing since his freshman year at the varsity level, that helps, especially in this conference. At Southeast, I think you got Levi Hill, who's going to be a Michael Vick type quarterback. Southeast has got athletes. There's news for you. Ohania Kuko, Doyle Boyle at running back. Southeast.
But they've got size too, Burns. This year they've got a lot of the guys that have really bought into what Jeff Thomas is doing are those guys that are in the weight room with Jeff Thomas just about every day.
That Joey Kaufman comes in at about 6'5", 280, and they were joking that he was 280, after the workout because he didn't start that way. They've got some kids that could do something. For Southeast to finish in the top 4 is not an impossible proposition. For them to win 5 games, as Jeff Thomas kind of pointed to earlier in the year, that's going to be a tough way to go.
Lincoln's got a name that people are familiar with from basketball, oddly enough, but the quarterback, Ben Brackney, they made great strides offensively last year, a good mix of run and pass. Neese is back, Brackney's back. They've got some people back at Lincoln. Maybe it's not only a basketball school anymore.
And I saw Brackney on Thursday up in Lincoln, and I tell you what, I don't know what the kid might be like in game situations, but he looks good. He's like 6'2 and a half, 6'3". I mean, the kid's got weight. He's got agility. He's got an arm. So
he'll be up to 6'5" by basketball season.
Well, of course, for reasons we won't get into right now. But Lincoln's not the designated win anymore. They lost 2 games by 8 points, I think, and I think they lost 3 games by a total of like 13 or 14. They win those games, they're in the playoffs. So For them to back in and get 5-6 wins, that's not a crazy proposition.
Up and coming program at Lincoln. And the last one we need to talk about is Lanphier, which has the only first-year coach in the Central State in Steve Beaker.
26-year-old Steve Beaker. You just got to hope that Steve Beaker wins some games. It's a little thin. He's looking for Eli McBride to be his main running back. Daniel Jordan's going to be his quarterback. He was the quarterback last year. Yeah. They've got a little bit of experience, but he's trying to build a program, first-year coach trying to build a program in a conference where it's not easy to build a program. So it could be a tough year for Lanphier.
And Lanphier's state track, they've got 2 trophies the last 2 years in state track. That means speed. That means running back. And Lanphier without speed won't be Lanphier. But they'll find speed. There'll be speed there.
Yeah, I guarantee you. If they get in front of you, you won't be able to catch them from behind. But the key is getting past them. I think it's going to take a year or two for him to really gel, which is the difference between what's going on in the Southeast. I think they're starting to pick up on it now with Jeff Thomas. The attitude's different. They know what he wants, the commitment that he expects, and it could be a different attitude on the east side.
Bernsey, I'm nailing you first. 1 through 8, Central State A conference finish.
Oh, man. So, let's go Sacred Heart Griffin. Let's go Jacksonville Glenwood. Let's flip-flop those. I'll qualify it. Springfield 4. Oh, Southeast Lincoln, Taylorville, Lanphier, but there might be only a game or two between 3 through 7.
And I'm going to say number 1 SHG, number 2 Jacksonville, because some year Jacksonville is going to be able to beat Glenwood. The difference between who finishes second, who finishes third, is who wins the head-to-head. Glenwood has a tremendous advantage over Jacksonville in their head-to-heads. I'm going to say the Crimsons win this year, Glenwood third. I like Taylorville's veteran experience, number 4, Lincoln number 5, Southeast number 6, where are we at? Lincoln number 7, and Lanphier number 8. Catch us at the end of the year and see how we did.
Don't worry, they will.